Hi guys, it's Diana from Crafting Corner. Glad you're here. Today is Tip Tuesday, and I'm going to try to answer a couple of questions that I've had recently. And to start off this video, I want to say you guys are not a bother. Some people go, Diana, I'm sorry I'm bothering you. That's what I'm here for, to help with the questions. So don't ever think you're a bother. I love talking to my customers, so don't feel like you can't message me anytime. Is the first thing I wanted to say. One of the questions is, what surfaces do you wax and what surfaces don't you wax? That is a hard question, and I've learned, because I've been doing this for 3 years, I've learned through trial and error, really, okay? It gets to be where you feel the surface and you can tell. So that is kind of the answer, but I'm going to try to help a little bit, okay? First of all the surfaces that you buy from Chalk Couture are ready for the stencils, obviously, because they're not going to sell you a surface that doesn't work with their product, right? Okay, so when you're using Chalk Couture surfaces, you don't have to wax, okay? I have never had a problem with Chalk Couture surfaces ever, even on my brand new stencils that are really sticky. So this project that I did, I just put my stencil down and I was ready to go because this is a Chalk Couture surface. Now, to answer another part of that question is, I grabbed some cardstock to make this butterfly. Okay, I wanted to make my butterfly kind of pop, you know, and be made out of cardstock. So I grabbed my cardstock and kind of just did a feel, and I'm like, okay, it's pretty smooth. It's not like, say, construction paper. There's a good example. Construction paper has a different feel to it. I think if you put down your stencil on construction paper and pull up your stencil, construction paper is going to get stuck on your stencil and your stencil is going to be ruined. Now, the cardstock that I buy, I never have a problem with. It feels smooth and it's got kind of a waxy feel to it. Now, I don't know if there's other kinds of cardstock out there. It's just the ones that I buy seem to work fine for me. I have embellished a lot of my projects with cardstock. I've done like coffee signs, and then I want to make a little tiny coffee mug hanging from my coffee sign or something, and I'll cut it out and put some string through it and hang it from it as a little embellishment. I've done that, and then again I did this. So I never have problems with cardstock. Now make sure if you do buy cardstock, it doesn't feel like construction paper. It feels more smooth and waxy. I didn't have a problem making this butterfly, okay? Now, I bought this board at Michael's. I believe it was Michael's or Hobby Lobby, but I think it was Michael's. And I was getting ready to do this project. And by the way, this is the same stencil. Same exact stencil. I just used it a little bit differently. This is not cardstock. This is a piece of wood that I put the stencil on. Now, this is a rustic board, and I felt this surface and it felt really dry. So I figured when I put my stencil down, it would either rip my stencil or my paste would just bleed right through, because it's so dry, if you know what I'm saying. It just wouldn't look right. It wouldn't look the way that I wanted it to look. And then I would probably have to put the stencil back on and back on and back on top of it several times to get it to adhere to it. So I did wax this board. This is not a Chalk Couture board. Again, it felt really dry. I thought it would rip my stencil. I thought that the paste would not stick very well, or just go right through the board because it's so dry. So I did wax that board. And all you do is you get this little sponge that comes with it on the Chalk Couture website. which is really nice. I've used like paper towel and like industrial paper towel, and it just does not work very well for me. And I'm so glad they came out with this because this works so much better. And this is the surface wax that you get on the Chocateur website. Now the wax for Chocateur is, it looks white, but it's actually very clear. It goes on really clear. I have some wax sitting here if I can reach it. I do have some finishing wax, mini wax, but this has a little bit of a yellow tint to it. So be careful what you're putting it on. Like say if you got this color surface at Hobby Lobby, say this wasn't Chocateur and you got this at Hobby Lobby, you could so use this yellow on here because you're not going to be able to see the yellow. It's going to be fine. But if you're putting this on something white, you might be able to see the yellow tint to it. So you can get you some mini wax. And I don't know if at the hardware store there might be some clear wax. I just happen to see that and it's yellow. So, but Chocateur has this. It has a cute little sponge. So hopefully that answers the question about waxing or not waxing. And please private message me, show me your surface, talk to me about your surface, how it feels, and I can probably usually tell you, yes, wax it, or no, I think you're fine. I've had people do that. Hey, Diana, I got this stencil from you. I bought this surface. What do you think? Please message me anytime, and I'd love talking to you guys. Second question was, somebody was having trouble getting their surface to lay down correctly, I think it was, and it was bleeding underneath. Make sure your stencil, when you put it down, you are going like this. You're going from side to side and making sure that it's completely stuck down, because I have even done it. To this day, I've been doing this for 3 years. To this day, I've still made mistakes if I don't do this. I'll put my paste through it and realize that it bled through, or there's a little bubble and I go, oh shoot, you know, and I still do it. But you'll learn to make sure that you're always putting it down. I've even got this little tool sometimes that I use, just a little flat thing. And I will sit here and go like this and make sure that it's down on my surface before I put my paste through it. Because that's what these stencils are for. They're supposed to lay flat. They're supposed to be sticky so that you don't have bleed through. So if you're having bleed through, make sure it's down flat. Also make sure that your paste is not too wet. You want it the consistency of like yogurt. You want to be able to move it around, but not be too dry where you're really having a hard time, then that's too dry. And you don't want it too wet that it's just dripping, because then that might bleed through. So make sure it's kind of in between, and you will get a feel of that also. You got to just keep practicing. You got to get more little projects from me or something and just keep practicing, and then you will learn exactly how to do it. So don't, again, make sure it's not too wet or too dry, the paste, and make sure it's the consistency of like yogurt, okay, if that helps you out. Hopefully those 2 tips, how to get your stencil down flat so you don't have bleeding, and also what to wax and what not to wax. They are both a learning curve for sure, but that's what I'm here for, is to help you guys if you have any questions, if you're not doing it right. If you want to FaceTime me when you're making a project, I am so into that. Absolutely. I can help you say, okay, you're not doing this right, or you need to try this or whatever. Send me a video of you making a project so I can tell you tweaking. And of course, watch my videos over and over again to see what I'm doing or not doing so that you guys get an idea of how to do your project, because this is supposed to be really fun and easy, right? So hopefully I answered those questions, and I just dropped my stencil on the floor. Don't want to do that. I just washed it and cleaned it. All right, so private message me. Any questions? No problem, guys. And this is Tip Tuesday, and hopefully I helped you guys out. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Have a great evening.